Hi, and welcome to Live with Connie. Today, my guest star is Cindy with Life in Your Tangled. And in about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to let her tell y'all more about herself and her channel. So let's see who we have so far in the chat. We have Spring, and I'm going to have trouble saying the next two people's names. Saguro Blossoms and Bingo Boy. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure if I'm saying y'all names right. But what is y'all first names? It'd be easier to call y'all by y'all first names. So anyway, how is everyone doing, and what are y'all working on? And I also want to thank those that will be watching on replay. And if you do watch on replay, leave a comment to let us know that you watched on replay. And feel free to answer any questions that we ask on today's live. And let's see, we have Trudy and Kay. How are y'all doing today?
Hi, everybody.
And what are y'all currently working on? So I'm trying to work on this pumpkin for breast cancer awareness, and for some reason, this little pumpkin is taking me forever to get done. It's like I thought it'd be finished in a day, and I don't know. And one day I was struggling with it. I don't know. I think I must have been tired, but I was starting to mess up, and I'm like, okay, time to call it quits. Let's see. Spring says she's working on a new sock pattern and drinking coffee. Nice. Oh, I need to get me some coffee today. I haven't had any today. I haven't had any coffee in like a week.
I miss coffee.
And normally I drink a cup of coffee every day, and sometimes two. But I don't know. This last week I hadn't. And let's see. Kay says she's working on golf head cover for hubby. Nice. Oh, Teensy's here. Hi, Teensy. How are you doing today? Teensy says they're on the road. We'll watch when we get back. Gonna run your hours of watch and crystals. Gotta hit the road. Okay, you have a good day and be safe, Teensy. And let's see. Margaret's here. Hi, Margaret. How are you doing today? And what are you working on? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna give it a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna let Cindy talk to y'all, so y'all can find out more about Cindy. And if y'all not already subscribed to her channel, go check her out. Show her y'all support and throw some yarn in her window. Okay. And Isla says, I'm getting coffee and deciding which whip needs the most love. You know what you do, Isla? Do any, mini, money, mo. Or flip a coin.
There you go. Flip a coin.
Let's see. Backbeats here. Denine's here. Melissa. How are all of y'all doing today? And what are y'all currently working on? But yeah, so far today seems to be a nice day here in Louisiana. Frank's Frank's at a doctor's appointment with the cardiologist, and he's going to be having his leg surgery November 18th. So keep him in y'all prayers. And also, I just found out some sad news. Tracy, with Tracy Nicole Fiber Arts, her father passed away yesterday. So keep her and her family in y'all prayers.
Will do.
And let's see, Laura Lee's here. Hi, Laura Lee. How are you doing today? Oh, so you came up with the phrase, throw some yarn in the window backbeat? Yeah, I never knew where that phrase actually came from. And let's see, Teresa's here. Spring is excited about my new patterns. Yes, hopefully I will have them released soon. The pumpkin plaid beanie, I'm still waiting for one tester to finish. Then the candy corn beanie, two of my testers have finished. One's still working on it, which she'll probably be finished pretty soon too. Um, and one of my testers that finished, she told me she has a few notes, so I'm waiting to hear back from her on that. So I may, have to make a little revisions, but I, but I know she said it's not anything major, so I'm kind of curious what she's going to be, mention. But yeah, so hopefully that pattern will be released soon too. And I need to start writing up the ghost pattern because my testers are going to be ready for another pattern. So hopefully I can get all my patterns released soon that I have done already.
That'll be good.
Yes. And then I'm going to be designing more patterns, so there's more coming.
Got to keep the masses happy.
And Margaret says, I have coffee in my cup and on my hook today. I'll be working on diamond overlay scrap gan, but the size I'm crocheting is lap gan. Awesome.
Nice.
And Laura Lee's working on a scrap Afghan that I've been working on and off for the last 6 months, and she's drinking coffee. And Teresa says, I have water and I'm working on a headband ear warmer for my daughter. Nice. Spring is loving my patterns. Thanks. Oh, and Backbeat's almost done with his American flag Afghan. Ooh,
Ooh,
and when you get finished, send me a picture.
me too.
Yes, I
I
also
want to
want to
see it.
want to share that in one of my finished project videos. Okay, and Saguar, oh Blossoms. I'm gonna call you Blossoms. That's easier for me to say. Oh, okay, okay. Never mind. You just put your name. It's Elaine. Okay, Elaine. Okay. I've been working on a purple and lime green king size granny square blanket. Ooh, nice. Yes, and like when y'all get finished with y'all projects, send me pictures so I can include in my finished project videos. He says it's going to be one on November 15th, and I do them the 15th of every month. Okay, so now I'm going to let Cindy share about herself and her channel, maybe show y'all some whips and finished objects.
Okay. Ooh, my one finished object's over there on the couch. I'll have to grab it here in a second. I'm Cindy, Life in Yarn Tangled. My channel's been mainly about yarn, crochet, those kind of things. Unboxings, tutorials, finished objects, whips, kind of stuff like that. Just completed our first cow with me, Spring, and Bailey. All pictures had to be submitted by midnight last night. So now it's a matter of waiting for the slideshow to come out and making the determination who won. And let me grab that really quick and I'll show you. I did what's called as I'm knocking water over, a stained glass wrap. My cat thinks it's a cat bed for her. Let me make sure I have it facing the right way.
Ooh, I love those colors. Ooh, pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a mad dash to finish this. There was between 6 and 10 tails per square at the end that I had to sew in every square. And of course, in each row and column had their own tails. So that was the worst part about the whole project. But it was fun to do. And I'm currently working on the Pick and Mix cowl by Lisa Ladybird Loves.
Ooh, I
I'm
like
doing
those
that
colors
one.
too.
Yeah, purple's my favorite color.
Yeah, I love purple.
Do you? Yeah, it's my favorite. I can't stand pink. Bailey gives me tons
like
of. Do you like pink too? I get a lot of guff from Bailey because I don't like pink. I do have some pink yarn, but I don't like pink. I don't use it unless I have to. I'm also working on a granny square blanket for my bed, queen size though. It's also purple. It's clear on the other side of the room, so I'm not going to grab it. I have about a dozen whips in various project bags behind me and in my closet. And then I have about 14 Christmas presents that I really should be getting started on, and I haven't yet. Something I've started new on my channel is blogs. I've had one that's been uploaded, and I just did one today that I haven't uploaded yet, and that's focusing more on my health issues and the medical side of things that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis because I am chronically ill and I have a whole magnitude of health issues. So I thought it would be good to share with people what it's like to be chronically ill and what you have to deal with every day. So that's pretty much, and Pixie photobombs a lot. And I do some videos of just her or me and her little short bids to put on there as well. So that's pretty much my channel in a nutshell. So.
Awesome. And let's see, Melanie's here. Hi, Melanie. How are you doing today, and what are you currently working on? And Spring saying your wrap turned out beautiful, Cindy.
Thanks. Hi, Melanie.
And Backbeat says, this is not a true American flag. It is like it is torn flag that is crocheted together. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I still love to see a picture of it.
Right?
And let's see, Melanie is working on a cardigan. Oh, and y'all know, okay, yesterday I actually got around to doing a tutorial. And I thought like from what I could tell while I was filming, I thought I stayed in camera view. And then whenever I went to work on editing the video, I went out of camera range too much. Like now I gotta redo that tutorial. So sometime this week I'm gonna get, it'll probably be this weekend. But yeah, I'm trying to work with that tutorial. But it's not easy making tutorials. It really isn't.
It takes a lot of practice.
And it's so easy to start drifting out of the camera view. And I set up my camera differently this time. Because normally I hug my tripod in front of me, where this time I set it up like on this box and have it on my table. So I got to get used to, like, the feel of it. And even though you keep glancing at the viewfinder, you don't always realize while you're doing the stitches that you start shifting. But
I would pull mine closer and closer to me until I'm like below the screen. So now I got a little creative. I took my selfie stick, screwed it to the piece that is behind my ring light, so it sticks now out, and I can actually lengthen it further, and then the end of it's flexible, so I stretch it out over my table and I turn it so it's facing the same way as I am, and it's in front of me, right over my table. So now I don't drift because it catches my whole table because it's above it.
And even though, I think I explained everything well enough, And like the thing that you really need to know, you can see where I show it, but like when it comes to like when I'm doing like the single crochet and double crochet stitches, that's where I start getting out of camera view falling, which usually if you're trying to do a tutorial for like a stitch like I was doing, typically those stitches, and if you don't, I do have tutorials for them, but but yeah, but I want to remake it. I was like, I went out too much. It's one thing if you do a little when you start drifting, but it was just too much.
Yeah.
Melanie
I think
said,
we've all been there.
I'll watch for a tutorial. You all do a lot of work. And yeah, this was the tutorial for that first stitch that I did with the blanket that I'm designing. And like the stitch, I don't, the stitch, from what, doesn't really seem to have a name for it. Um, it's a stitch I discovered from Allison Russell, but like, I really like it and I used it for my blanket. So it's kind of like the no name stitch. It's some form of like a crisscross stitch though. But like I have not been able to find, that stitch with a name. And,
Interesting.
and Spring says yes, tutorials take a lot of practice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Backbeat says somehow the Afghan has two ships and two Civil War hats that appeared while crocheting. Neat. Okay, Kay has to go. Have a good day, Kay.
Bye, Kay. Take care.
And let's see, Chris is here. Hi, Chris. How are you doing and what are you working on? But
Hi, Chris.
but yeah, and today I'm going to be working on the pet video, and hopefully I get it uploaded today. I'm going to do my best, but if not, it'll be tomorrow. But after this live, I'm going to be working on it. But like I have a good bit, I have a lot of pictures I have to like do some editing with and stuff. We're basically place it on a background and put like the person's name that sent the picture, their pet's name, stuff like that.
That takes time. Get all that on there.
Mm-hmm. And Chris says working on my first cup of coffee. Yeah, I want to make me some coffee after my live. I haven't had my coffee yet, but yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well. Okay, so do you want to start with the first question, Cindy?
Sure. Just 1 second. For those of you who don't know, I have a battery pack in my right butt cheek, and I have to charge it on a daily basis with a blue paddle. And we make fun of this blue paddle all the time on my channel and lives I'm in about charging with the blue paddle. So I got to get this thing going because I keep forgetting. And I was kind of on the low side here, so give me 1 second. Spring has seen me do this on multiple occasions. There it goes. Okay. So, first question. Let's see. What was the very first thing you ever designed? I'm throwing you a curveball.
So have you done any designing, Cindy?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, so what was the first thing you designed?
Blanket. That's one of my favorite things to do. I've designed quite a few blankets, but I haven't written any of the patterns out for them. So, how about you? What's the first thing you ever designed?
Mine was the Easter plaid beanie in the waistcoat stitch.
Ooh, that nasty waistcoat stitch.
I
One of my
love
least favorite
it.
stitches.
I love the waistcoat stitch.
Do you
It takes a
really?
it takes a little while to get it down. Oops, Frank just dropped something. Oh, Allie dropped something. but but yeah, it takes a little while to get down. And you have to crochet loose with it. But I don't
Yeah,
know. I think it's fun because you can do like color work with it and
true. I'm a tight crocheter, so for me, the waistcoat stitch is a nightmare because I crochet so tight. So,
but yeah,
yeah.
that was my first design. And before that, I mean, I've done some stuff where I don't know if if you'd really call it my design or not, because like I've done stuff where I've looked at pictures, like to kind of get an idea of how to do like a face for like a knitted hat, stuff like that, and then I always tended to like piece patterns together. Right, take this from one pattern, this from another pattern, this from another pattern, and put it all together.
I would say that's your design because you've taken, even though you're using elements from different ones, you're the one who's actually designing it and putting it all together. At least that's how I would view it.
But usually I'm just kind of like I piece patterns together for that. But yeah, the waistcoat coat stitch Easter plaid beanie, that was the first pattern I released.
Oh, wow. Nice. I haven't released, well, I put a pattern in actually in the description box of a tutorial I did. That was the first written pattern I actually put out there. And it was for a scarf I designed for my mom. So,
But like for beanies, I really prefer like when I do the color work, I really prefer knitted beanies to design because you have more room since the stitch is smaller.
I never thought of it that way. It's been a
Yeah,
while since I've knitted a beanie, so I kind of jumped from knitting to crochet and I haven't really looked back.
which
So,
eventually I do plan to do more beanies, design more beanies with crochet. But right now I have a lot going on with my blankets, and I'm designing that big blanket right now, which I really need to. But before I really get really into that blanket more, I need to finish my peppermint blanket for Christmas. Like I said, I got all these big
peppermint
projects for
blanket.
crochet. What's that?
Peppermint blanket. That sounds kind of cute.
Yeah, it's the pattern that Mikey with Crochet Crowd does the tutorial.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I've seen that one. Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, it's like so I gotta get my blankets out of the way, and then I have other blankets I want to make, and I'm kind of like I'm probably gonna want a break from blankets after I finish what I'm doing, but I also want to do more blankets, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
And
the cow Lisa's cow is a blanket, and then I have my queen size blanket. After that, all blankets are on hold because I already have kind of lined up what I'm doing for everybody for Christmas. So I got to really get to cracking on that because some of that stuff like floor poofs and things like that. So they're big items. It's going to take me some time. So blankets have to go on hold till after Christmas.
let's see, Bagbeat says, "Is it so strange for a man to crochet?" I asked because the looks I get in the yarn aisle. Well, I mean, I think it's awesome when guys crochet, but I know, like for
Mhm.
instance, like the first time you showed up on one of my lives, I presumed you were a female, and then I feel bad after when you're like, I'm a guy. But you do typically see women, but there are some male crocheters, and I, I think it's awesome. I wish more people would get involved with yarn crafts.
Right? It's a good de-stressor to sit there and crochet,
Mhm.
knit, or whatever craft you're doing. It's great for de-stressing. At least that's what I find.
And Melanie says, I really appreciate all of the tutorials. Awesome, awesome. Spring's like she charges her butt off.
Yeah. Every morning.
So is that for your oxygen or
This right here.
the yeah, with the charger you would
Oh,
charge.
the battery pack in my butt is for my spinal stimulator for my back pain.
Okay.
I have a spinal stimulator to help take the edge off that pain level for me. The hope was that I could cut back on my pain pills, but that's not proving to be the case. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually like 7 years ago, well, I was on oxygen in the hospital, but like initially I was supposed to go home on oxygen. But luckily my oxygen level went back up the day I got discharged. So I didn't need
Oh, nice.
oxygen. I was so happy.
Nice. I failed my walking oxygen test the first time 3 months ago. And then just this past week, I was in again to see him for my every 3 months checkup. And I failed it actually even faster. So I have to, they really stress me wearing this all the time. So kind of stinks because it's hard to keep track of it plus the tubing for my formula. And I get them tangled all the time. Or I trip over one of them.
Yeah, because I was like, if I would have had to go home on oxygen, I didn't know how I would manage with it.
You find ways, literally. Um, they'll give you long tubing. They have really long green tubing so it stands out against anything. And I just kind of drag it around the house with me wherever I
And like,
go.
and one thing that concerned me too was like my house is gas. We have gas heater, gas stove, and our house is small, so it was kind of like I kind of had concerns about gas and oxygen.
I wouldn't know how that would work for a house with gas stoves. Um, my water heater's gas, and I don't have any problems with that. Um, I definitely have no smoking signs up. Not allowed to smoke around the oxygen because it can light that on fire. So I would think the same would be for the gas stove because it's an open flame and it could deplete enough that it could actually set your oxygen off. I would think. I could be wrong because my stove's electric, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I didn't even think of that. Even though like our hot water heaters outside in the laundry room, but
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, going to do laundry, it'd be like, well, that would be two of the if the the two would have reached, but yeah, if I was connected to my oxygen, it would have been, you know, the I think the dryer's gas. I think it might be electric. I'm not sure. Oh, it is electric, but still the hot water heater's in there.
Yeah, I go in the laundry room with my oxygen on and it's gas water heater. I don't have any problems with that. I would think if the gas stove, I'd probably take the oxygen off while I'm in the kitchen cooking. When I'm done, the flames are turned off, put the oxygen back on.
But that was one
So
thing that I was concerned about. But luckily, my oxygen level went back up. So let's
I wish
see.
mine would.
Hey, it could happen. You never know. Laura Lee says it's been over 50 years. She can't really remember when it comes to designing. And Teresa says, first thing I ever designed was a crochet tank top for my 9-year-old daughter. Awesome.
How fun.
Laura Lee says she can't see well enough to do the waistcoat stitch. Yeah, Laura Lee was one of my testers for the crochet version of the alien beanie, which is done in the waistcoat stitch, and she had trouble with that part, with the waistcoat, and then the black yarn probably didn't help either.
Right. Black yarn's hard to crochet or knit with. Knit's not as bad as the crochet version.
Spring says not her favorite stitch either. I always do tend to be an oddball. Like things that like other people don't like, I tend to like, and like common things, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I'm odd. Isla says I designed an Afghan I call night flowers. Oh, nice.
Nice.
Melanie says, I'm not sure the waistcoat stitch. I'm a tight crocheter too.
You won't like the waistcoat stitch then, trust me, because if you're a tight crocheter, you cannot get that hook in. I actually had to get a needle, one of my yarn needles, and stick it in there and jiggle it back and forth a bit to loosen the stitch up enough that I could actually get the hook in. I had to do that for every stitch. Jiggle it first and then do the stitch. Get my needle in there, jiggle. Oh, man. I gave up. I don't even think I did. I think I did 4 rows. No, I did 3. I was like, I ain't doing this anymore.
Let's see. Hi, Nana, Michelle, and Jen. How are y'all doing today? And what are y'all currently working on? Backbeat says, here's a crazy funny thing that happened to me. I was looking for 2 more American yarn. I knew it was in the closet. Well, I grabbed a bag and wham, American yarn landed on my head. I looked and found another. That's awesome. That you found
That's one way to find it.
Normally, when I'm looking for a yarn, it's like the last thing I come across. It's like, why can't it be like right there? And let's see. Spring says my latest designs have been tattered earrings. Nice.
Oh, those Christmas tree earrings are gorgeous.
And Backbeat says it was like God said, here's the yarn, dummy, because I looked all over that closet. Oh, you did do a lot of looking. Okay. I thought you found it like that. Okay, Sandrine's here. Hi, Sandrine. How are you doing today? And what are you currently working on? And let's see, Angela too. Angela's here. Same thing. Same questions.
Hi, Angela.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually whenever y'all come in, I ask y'all how y'all doing and what are y'all working on. Angela's drinking water, working on her granny squares. Awesome. And Laura Lee saying her dad did beautiful latch hook rugs. Nice. I did a little bit of latch hook, like whenever I was younger.
I haven't done latch hook since I was a kid.
And Spring says, oxygen and gas is fine. Dad was on oxygen and had gas stove and heat, no problems. Okay, that's good.
Good to know.
Backbeat says, cook azazia, I can't say it, and wild rice brats. Nice.
Sounds yummy.
Oh, and let's see, Amanda and David's here, and Crafty Crochet Corner. How are y'all doing, and what are y'all currently working on?
Hi, guys.
And Backbeat says his first design was An Addie machine hat. Nice.
It's one thing I don't have, an adding machine.
And Crafty Crochet Corner saying happy November 1st, everyone. And Backbeat says, I am secretly doing a cat's eye Mandela cake tweed. Nice.
Ooh, I bet that's going to be pretty.
Melanie says it's so exciting looking for yarn. Okay. And David saying, resurrecting a moss stitch sweater I put aside a few months ago. I also have several patterns ready for testing. Oh, awesome, David.
Nice.
And Amanda says, I made a beanie hat with cotton yarn yesterday, and it turned out really pretty. Nice, nice, nice. And Crafty Crochet Corner says, currently working on hats and a blanket. And Crafty Crochet Corner, what is your first name? And Jen says, I'm working on my icy snowflake blanket. Sweet.
Oh, I bet that's pretty.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the next question.
Okay.
If you could try any food, what would it be? I
Whoa.
think I would go with Greek food. And it's kind of one of those things where I'm scared to try different dishes because I don't know if I would like it or not. And like, I don't want to waste money on something that I don't like, but I've always kind of been curious. Now I
Right.
do know when I was stationed in Great Lakes, Illinois, there was a place in the mall that had like this little Greek restaurant, and I did get, I think, like this like roast beef type gyro, which was good, but that was the only thing I was, was brave enough to try because it was basically just, you know, the bread and like the meat. I think I don't know. I may have had other stuff on it, so, but it's like I'm scared to be too adventurous with it. So how about you, Cindy?
Um, oh, that's a tough one. I've always wanted to try gumbo.
Gumbo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to try. Never have, and now I can't. So
We have
now
gumbo
it's a little too late.
regularly on a regular basis here.
Do ya? Yeah, where I live, gumbo's not a popular thing. So I'm here in Western Colorado, and it's not a popular thing. It's either American, your steak, your burgers, fries, chicken, that kind of stuff, or it's Mexican food. It's your burritos and tostadas and all those different Hispanic dishes, and so that's kind of where you go one way or the other here in the valley. That's pretty much it. So
Okay. Okay. So Crafty Crochet Corner. Her name is Jenny.
I will
Okay.
try to remember that.
Me too.
I'm
I try to remember names, but sometimes my memory doesn't always hold up.
I'm terrible with names. Absolutely terrible.
And the thing is, like, the more that I see someone at my lives, I remember the names better.
Right.
But like, like those that pop in, and then they may not pop in again for like 2 months down the road. More than likely, I'm probably gonna have forgotten your name.
Yeah.
I don't mean to, but I can only, my memory's only so good. And I think the older I'm getting, my memory's getting worse.
That's me.
Let's see. Kaylina's here. Hi, Kaylina. How are you doing today? And what are you
Hi,
currently
Kaylina.
working on? And Amanda says, I agree. I'd like to try Greek food too. Yeah, and like they recently opened a Greek restaurant in my town. So it's kind of like, and Frank does waiter deliveries. So it's kind of like we're curious, but we're scared. Okay. And David says, there is some really hearty Central European food, Polish, Hungarian, Czechoslovak, etc. Awesome. And David says, I've had gumbo, totes delish. Oh yeah, gumbo's good.
Well, and everybody makes it different. So depending on what kind of gumbo it is, and I'm sure they're all absolutely fabulous. It's,
But what's funny is like, when you talk to like, the Cajuns and stuff, we're picky about gumbo. Like people, we're like tomatoes don't belong in gumbo, and oh, that's not a real gumbo. It's really like how I make my gumbo. People probably would say that's not real gumbo because I try to make mine healthier.
right.
Where I just I use like skinless, boneless chicken, and like I don't put sausage usually in mine anymore because the sodium and sausage and stuff like that. And I try not to make mine as fatty too, where depending, but to me it's still gumbo.
Right. Yeah, it changes it.
Jen says, I'm too picky. I'll stick with American made foreign foods. Melanie says, I want some shrimp gumbo. Yeah, now y'all gotta get me in the mood for gumbo. Amanda says, I've made gumbo before, but it's been a long time. David says, I'm usually more likely to remember a nickname or channel name than a real name. Yeah. Well, it's easy. It's easy. Like whenever the name is in there, you know, like Melanie, at point blank says Melanie. But like whenever like it's a channel name without a name, it does get or even sometimes even if it's not a channel with content, it gets hard to remember the names like that.
Mhm.
David says, I've enjoyed the Greek food I've tried, but I don't have a wide experience with it. And Melanie says, I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, 10 minutes from the Biltmore House and Estates, a must see. Oh, awesome.
Nice. I haven't been to North Carolina in, oh my gosh, since like 1999, something like that.
And Spring says, I eat such a wide variety of food. It would be hard for me to answer that one. And David says, I love to watch cooking shows and videos, and I find it hilarious to see people make things that they call Southern, that they have absolutely no resemblance to any Southern food I know. Yes, exactly. And like a lot of times, like with Cajun dishes, it happens a lot where they they're not cooking Cajun, and they tend to think what makes Cajun cooking is the spice. So they think because it's spicy that they use a bunch of cayenne pepper that it makes it Cajun, and that's not true. Let's see, Miguel's here, and he loves my hat. Oh, thank you, Miguel. So how are you doing today, and what are you working on? Oh, and Granny D's here too. Hey, Granny D. Same
Hi,
questions
Granny D
I
and
asked
Miguel.
Miguel. And David says, I want scampi now or shrimp cocktail. And let's
Shrimp's one of my favorites.
David saying, I'm going to Black Mountain in a few weeks for a men's fiber retreat. I'm in Wilmington. Oh, that's cool, David. And Amanda says, a friend of mine introduced me to Indian food earlier this year. He helped me pick a dish that wasn't too spicy. I really enjoyed it. Oh, cool. Yeah, Indian food I'd be curious about too. And Backbeat saying spices don't make it Cajun. Exactly, it don't. Okay, so let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
Okay, it's your turn this time, Cindy.
Oh, my turn this time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Have you bought anything from an infomercial? And if you did it work out as promised?
Have you?
I did once, and I'll never do it again. I got it. I was sick at the time, so I hadn't got to try it. 3 days later, they sent me a whole bunch of other products that I didn't authorize and charged me up the wazoo for it, causing checks to bounce, everything. I had to go into my bank and get it all. Oh man, it was a battle. I had to cancel my debit card, everything, and get a whole new card because of it, because they wouldn't stop billing me.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was awful. So no more.
Well, for me, I didn't get this item from the actual infomercial. I got it from Walmart on the as seen on TV aisle.
Mhm.
But it's still basically an commercial product. So it was the red copper skillet, which is kind of good. But the one thing I don't like is I do find that stuff sticks to it, and it's hard to clean.
I never did like copper skillets. I like the ceramic.
But they make it sound like nothing sticks to it, and that's not true.
Right.
And I'm sure there may have been some other stuff that I've gotten, like from Walmart, from the, but that's the only one that I can think of offhand.
Right.
Let's see. David saying I might be the only person I know who doesn't care for Indian food, but it's a, a much too broad a question. There are so many regions of India with their own foods. Yeah, and even like sometimes, like for instance, like Chinese food. What we get in restaurants at most Chinese restaurants is not true Chinese food. It's Americanized. These like the Chinese, like they eat very little meat in their dishes. They don't eat a lot of meat. That was one thing I learned, and I thought it was fascinating. David says, "Boy, yes, work, no." And Teresa says, "Short vacuum, and it worked awesome, and it had a bonus steam mop." Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Melanie says, "Oh, David, you'll love the trees. Black Mountain is beautiful. You've got to get back to North Carolina." And Backbeat says, "I was told I bought a set of dishes. I said, how can I possibly purchase a set of dishes when I'm in the middle of a war zone? They said, can you send proof?" So I sent a picture of the picture. And let's see. David saying, "We don't even realize that there are so many regional variations of Mexican food. When we think of Mexican, it's really Tex-Mex. Again, tongue-tied. But yes, same thing with Mexican food."
Well, same with American food. It's by region. What is considered Southern food in Texas is different than Southern food in Florida to, Northern food in New York City and northern food in Chicago, Illinois. I mean, and then you keep coming and you've just got different variations of foods, and how they're cooked and what goes good together. And
Because that's kind of like if you compare like a stew cooked in the South compared to a stew cooked in the North, it's different.
mm-hmm.
Because like especially like in Louisiana, our stew is usually brew based with the flour and oil, and we stir it until it gets real dark.
Right.
And yeah, and let's see, Backbeat saying in full military with a tank, they canceled the item. That's too funny though.
It's one way to cancel things.
David says, I know you didn't mean to suggest that Florida is part of the South. I am shocked to my foundations.
Hey, for my corner of the world, it's south. Because it's southern to me, far south, further south than I am. if you're below my city limit, you're south.
Oh, Jenna's saying she sent an email of her squares to you, Cindy.
Oh, you did? Let me see if I got it. I know as of this morning I didn't have it. Let's take a look. Were you able to see the new tutorial, Jen?
Okay.
All right, well, it's not going to separate out the two emails. Let's do this the hard way. When did you send them? Because it doesn't look like I got the email.
David's saying that geographically, South is not actually South, although I will admit that Northern Florida might be grudgingly admitted as part of the real South. Florida is hurricane zone. If a storm's coming in the Gulf, it usually hits Florida. Okay, Laura Lee has to go. Bye, Laura Lee. I hope you have a good day. And thank you.
Bye, Laura Lee.
She's congratulating me on my 1K. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Congrats.
I couldn't believe I made it.
I have a long ways to go. My goal's 500 right now.
And the funny thing is, I was wanting to make it by the end of the year, but I didn't think it was going to happen. And people kept telling me it's going to happen. And I'm like, I don't know. And it was like that. It happened. It's like there were those helping me that put out posts on their community tabs that trying to help me get to 1K. So I got some from there, but evidently Bag O'Day must have noticed other people making the post, and then she made a post, and it was just like boom.
Yeah, that's all it takes, man. One word from Crystal, and you've got a flock coming in. Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. I so did not expect that to happen. And so now I'm working on getting the rest of my watch hours. And then hopefully I'll be monetized soon and throw a big old monetization party.
How many more hours do you need?
I have 3,013. So I need a little less than 1,000.
A live a day for a couple of weeks and you'll have it. Which is a lot. I could never do a live a day. Yeah, I don't have it, Jen.
I do 3 times a week. Okay, Jen said she just sent it.
Okay, so hopefully it pops in here.
Okay. David says Florida is really like 3 different states.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure if any of my mods are here today or not. Spring, would you like to be a moderator? Or David, I can put y'all as moderators if y'all want. Let me know. Spring says that as a born and raised Floridian, it's the South.
Jen, I just got it, and that is stunning. I love it.
David says he needs about 60 to reach 2K. I'd love some help. Okay, y'all. If y'all haven't checked David out, go check him out. He needs some help. Let's get him to 2K. And I'm going to write you down to make a post for you on my community tab tomorrow to shout you out there.
I need 4 to get to 200.
Okay.
What is that? 1/100th of what he needs? Of where he's at? 1/10.
He said he needed 60 more.
60, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hit 2K.
Okay. I'm going to put you down to shout out for the following day on my community page, Cindy.
Okay.
I tend to do 2 shout outs on my community page a day. Okay. And to like the ones that I've been posting on my community page, I'm also going to be like putting, it may not be like all in the same week, but I will start like adding y'all to some of my future shout out videos.
Nice.
Because I'll kind of divide it up when I do the shout out videos.
Right, so you're not doing too many at a time.
Yeah. Okay, and Backbeat says, when I was stationed in Iraq, a New Jersey soldier said, $100 says, I'll make grits better than you said. I said, you're on. Well, I won. Awesome. Oh, Frank wants to know, Backbeat, if you ever tried shrimp and grits. David says my Halloween live stream yesterday was supposed to be my 2th-anniversary party, but I had a bunch of internet and hardware issues. And I was meaning to pop in on you yesterday, David, and I'm sorry I didn't get around to it. Spring says I was born South Central and lived North Central for several years before moving north. Okay, you want to be a mod? Okay, give me just a second, and I'm gonna add you, Spring. You might hear a little noise until I can mute it. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add you too, David. Okay, Backbeat too. Anyone else said they wanted to be a mod? I think that's it. Okay. Okay. So I should have everyone added as mods. It is normally like most of the time Crystal's here, but even when she's not here, normally I have at least one mod around, but somehow today it didn't. I don't think it happened. Well, I think Chris is one of my mods.
I'd have to look on YouTube itself.
Chris may have left already though. Okay. Jen's saying she wants to make yours, Cindy, but I have to finish mine first.
Awesome. I think the snowflake one is stunning. I can't wait to see that finished.
David says I love grits. I don't like grits. And like even oatmeal, I'll only eat oatmeal like in baked goods. Um or like I like it in overnight oats. But I don't like the typical oatmeal that you cook on the stove.
I've never liked grits.
Okay, you're referring to Cindy's channel? Backbeat. Cindy's channel is Life and Your Entangled. Backbeat says I am 47 till 700. Long ways to go.
Yeah, but 700 is still an awesome milestone.
And it seems like once you hit like 500, that's when it's really kind of like I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Right. That's why I said my initial goal right now is just to get to 500 and get that community tab. That's my initial goal.
And David says, I have a cardigan I need to lay out to figure button placement. I hate doing buttons.
I never can get them on straight.
Yes. And here's a link for David's channel right here. So y'all go check him out. Throw some yarn in his window and let's get him to 2K.
That's right.
Backbeat says, well, David, I grew up in Mississippi, so I have had shrimps and grits. Awesome. Okay, let me add Kaylina too. Give me just a second, y'all. Let's see. Let me add Kaylina. Oops. Sorry, y'all might have heard a little noise there. Let's see, where's Kaylina? Okay, I got you as a mod, Kaylina. Okay. And let's see. Can y'all go? Can one of my mods post Backbeat's link? Oh, never mind. Hold on a minute. I'm getting confused. Backbeat is a moderator. Okay, yeah. What it is like in StreamYard, I don't see the blue, and it don't. The links don't look like it's links. So
Right.
That's what confused me. Okay, yeah. So yeah, y'all go check out Backbeat's channel too. There's some yarn in his window. David
I'll have to go check out Backbeat.
Most of you Southern folks know of Awful House. They have a sausage, egg, cheese grits bowl that is just amazing. So you call it Awful House, David? David says oatmeal yuck. Yes. And
Only in oatmeal cookies.
Here's Cindy's channel, so throw some yarn in her window too. And Spring's channel too. Throw some yarn at her. Get that yarn thrown.
I'll try to catch it if I can.
Yeah, I need to check out Backbeat's channel. Is your channel a craft channel, Backbeat? Because craft channels I'll shout out on my channel, but if it's a different channel, I don't typically do non-craft channels for my shout outs.
It's music.
It's music.
Backbeat rhythm.
I do try to keep my shout outs to Yorny channels or craft channels. But you know what? I'll be nice. I'll put you on my community page. Let's see.
There you go.
Yeah, just give me a few days to get to you. Backbeat rhythm. Yeah, because it'll probably be not tomorrow, but the next day. That's where I have you on my list.
Right?
See. And David is planning a birthday celebration in early December, which which will I hope coincide with my 2K. Awesome. Yeah, because really I figure whenever I get monetized, it's gonna be close to my 1 year on YouTube. Because I started my channel, I think my first video was posted December 28th. So it's gonna be close.
You
So
got
more
this.
than
You got
likely,
this.
I'll do monetization podiversary together because it's just too close together to really do like two separate big events. And let's
True.
see, Proverbs is here, and
Hi,
Susan, how are
Susan.
y'all doing today? Oh, and Inherited too. How are y'all, and what are y'all currently working on? Oh, and it's snowing where Inherited is at lately.
Hi, Inherited. Yeah, she's on the other side of the state from me.
We'll be lucky if we get snow. It rarely snows in Louisiana. And let's see. And and here it says it's strange since it's 36 Fahrenheit outside. David says I call it Awful House, but it's not really awful. Okay, and let's see. Yes. And here's Inheritance link. And she's trying to get to 200 subscribers. So y'all throw some yarn in her window. So Granny D calls it that too. And that's the first time I've heard it referred to as Awful House. Yes, and here's Granny D's link. So throw some yarn in Granny D's window too. But more than likely, I think most people are subscribed to Granny D already. Yeah, I'm feeling fall. Proverbs, thank you. Yeah, now it's time for me to get my Thanksgiving theme going. Let's see. Yes, if y'all want y'all links dropped, those that have channels, just type CC in the chat, and one of the moderators will drop your link. Thank you too, Granny D. Oh, Spring says they have snow coming this week. Nice. Oh, and just so you know, that is one thing that I do plan to do coming up is a snow themed video. So like when it starts snowing, take some pictures of the snow and like y'all snowman and get those pictures into me. I'll probably do the video like sometime in January probably, but that is on my agenda to do. Same with Christmas. There'll be a Christmas themed video. Susan's working on a blanket, her own pattern.
Nice.
Granny D says, I'm hoping to get to 5K by year end, but it will happen when it happens. Awesome, Granny D. And Proverbs says, Spring, keep the snow there. Okay. Kaylina says they don't get snow in Georgia. Yeah, it's rare that we get it. Like it's usually about like once every other year, at most once a year. Okay, so let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
What is your favorite decade and why? Well, I think y'all probably know by yesterday's video, the 80s is my favorite decade. I love the music. I love a lot of the movies from the 80s. And the 80s just was a fun decade. So how about you, Spring?
I think I'm going to have to say the 80s too. Of course, that's when I was in high school. I graduated high school. And yeah, the music was fun. And I still like to listen to it from time to time now.
Yeah, whenever I was filming my 80s video yesterday, I was all worried like if I could get my hair to style like the 80s because I have like really thin, fine hair and it's straight and it just falls. Like, I mean, I have put hot rollers in my hair today. And I mean, you can already tell there's not much curl left, but it more gives my hair body. Oops, my hair's no.
Right. I
But
never could
yeah,
get my hair to do the big poof. I have a ton of hair, but I never could get the big poofy look of the 80s. It just wouldn't do it.
so I didn't know if my hair would hold. And I was like worried that like it would fall before getting it filmed, but luckily it stayed.
Nice.
But that was a fun video to make. Let's see. I think everyone's agreeing with the 80s. Chris does, Proverbs, Jen, and
Jen.
and let's see. Spring saying, my 80s video was great. I love and miss the 80s. Yeah, I don't know. It's something about the 80s. And like I mean some of the toys and uh,
Yeah.
we need to bring the 80s back.
Right.
Let's see. Granny D says, "Woohoo! Have some fur limbs yarn out in the mailbox, so I shall return. The '70s were my fun times. Graduated high school in '77. Yeah, Granny D must have sported the bell bottoms, huh, Granny D? And let's see. Oh, Lisa's here and Isla. How are y'all doing today? And what are y'all currently working on? Isla says she liked 2000 to 2010, and that's the one thing. Like the 2000s, you can't really say it like you did for the 19 hundreds. Because we would just say the
Mm-hmm.
20s, the 30s, and now it's like you got to say like 2000s, 2010. I don't know. It just don't flow. And let's see. Where am I? Okay. Backbeat says I had an 8-track player in my truck till 2 years ago. Yeah, I remember
Wow.
the 8-track players. But the one thing I didn't like about 8 tracks is you never knew where it would play because it would be like you would pop it in and it would just randomly play in a spot, and there was no way to rewind or fast forward. So you just had to
Yeah,
wait until your song came on.
I remember 8-track players. I never had one personally, but I remember them. I had cassette players and CD players as things kept morphing, you know, from 8-track to cassette to CD to, well, I guess records were in there too for a long time.
And it's funny how like now it's MP3s.
Oh, I know. Just on your phone. Don't have to carry anything separate anymore. No boom box or, I mean, you can still buy boom boxes, but
And let's see, Lisa says she's working on a doggy amigurumi. Nice.
That'll
Okay.
be cute.
But yeah, just as the prices in the 80s were easier to live with than now, my kids cannot even move out. Rent is so expensive. Yes, and like I remember back whenever bell peppers were like four for $1. And really that was probably more in the 90s and the 80s. They were probably cheaper in the 80s, but yeah, it's like prices just keep going up. And don't even get me started on that topic. But like, but yeah, prices are ridiculous nowadays.
Oh, it's horrible.
Backbeat says I have a tape player in my 50 Mercury. Nice.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, and like one thing too, people think that like raising minimum wage solves the problem, and it doesn't
It
because
just makes everything go up in price. So all you're
mhm,
doing is canceling out the difference.
mhm. And a lot of times it seems like it goes up even like more than what it was before, and
Right.
and the thing is that if you're making more than what wage is, that it got bumped up to, then you're actually hurting more because you didn't get a raise.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like every time I hear minimum wage going up, it's like no, 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 no.
Yeah, that's not going to solve anything.
And here it just says inflation, baby. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Backbeat says cores rust easier these days. Yes, nothing is made of good quality anymore either. And stuff is made to break, made to be more expensive to fix. I mean, like cores, you can't take it to an a side mechanic and have him just fix it. People can't work on cores like they used to. Everything's computerized. So you got to take it to a mechanic and they have to usually put it on a computer just to find out what's wrong with it. It's like there's a lot of stuff about the older days that were so much better.
Well, part of that's greed too. There's so much greed that, and let's make it so it breaks. So you have to spend more often and replace things more often and can make more money, which is kind of sad.
Okay, Bappy, we're not going to get into the political aspect of it.
So,
I prefer to avoid politics, so we're not going to talk about that. Spring says fall apart the day after the warranty. By that extended one, you have been texted laughing out loud. Yeah, because like my microwave, it went out, and we only had that microwave a few years, and it's just like, how does it break that fast? But yet you have one of those old microwaves; those things last forever. And the same thing, like oh, I had a rice pod that I didn't even have it for like a year, and it stopped working. And then I had to
yeah,
order another one, and it's just like everything is just breaking. They don't make things like they used to.
right.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. And I'm
Okay.
probably will be our last question. Let's
Okay.
see. I think it's your turn.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh. Um. Hmm. All right. Since we've been discussing the 80s and such, what was your favorite class or subject when you were in school?
So what was yours, Cindy?
Mine was math. Loved
Mine
math.
too. Mine too. I love numbers. English would be my next favorite, but
Not mine. I had an English teacher tell me not to do writing as a career.
which I've gotten rusty on my English skills, but I mean, yeah, that was when I loved in math.
That was me,
And
math. Math and science.
because I actually have an associate's degree in accounting technology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I like numbers.
I got my
Like,
medical assistant degree, and that was it. Life got in the
but
way.
it was like my degree comes from like Louisiana Technical College, which is really not recognized.
Mm,
It's not. I think now if you go to school there, it's recognized and it's transferable to a regular college. But like whenever I went,
right.
it wasn't.
Mm. And that's got to be frustrating.
Hmm. Because it's not really looked at, and it's kind of like it basically got my foot in the door to get office jobs, but it's not like I got to go where I wanted to with it.
Right.
And let's see. David says, I was just attending to the giveaway winners for my live yesterday. Does anyone know someone named Zara? Yes. Yes, Zara's one of my subscribers. If I
Yeah.
see her around, I'll try to tell her to email you, David. And let's see, where was I?
She probably just forgot.
Mhm. But I find like whenever like giveaways for my lives and stuff, you, it's like not everyone will email you. You have to start hunting them down.
I
and
don't
that's
hunt people down.
and that's one thing. From the Five Yarnaholics, I think it was Aris. I think she contacted Cindy, and Cindy gave me her email address, and I sent her an email, but I haven't heard back from her yet. So I don't know. Hopefully she'll email me. And let's see. Backbeat says, I know a person who's 104, and he paid a nickel for a stamp and a quarter for a Coke. Yeah, good old days. Yeah, I remember when stamps were a quarter. I remember those days.
Yeah.
Okay. And Lisa says science was mine. I loved anatomy and uh
Physiology.
yeah. For some reason it's like I couldn't get that word out in high school. A way different story in college. Woo yeah. Science what I had trouble with science was pronouncing like all the scientific words and stuff. Because I know like there were times on a test I'm like, I can't remember what this word is. And I'm like, word that starts with an S.
Right? I loved it. And like coping with yarn, I loved anatomy and physiology in high school. And Sadly, in high school or in college, it was way different than in high school. Way different.
And it's like I remember like the discussion questions in school. And one thing I found that if you usually attempted to answer the discussion question, you usually got partial credit. Where a lot of people wouldn't know the answer and they would just leave it blank. But I
Hmm.
learned that like if you attempt, if you just attempted to answer it, you usually got some points. Better than
Right.
losing like all the points for that question. And even if you had no clue what you were talking about, you just made stuff up. My brother was
Yeah.
good at that. Like he would like just, you know, come up with stuff and like and he would act like he knew what he was talking about and like teachers would give him credit.
I wish I had teachers like that.
Let's see. David says, I can't choose a favorite class. It would have to be music history or any variation of music literature, especially song lit, or any ensemble like choir or opera workshop. Outside of music, I love language. Nice. Yeah, David's our music guy.
Music's always good. It's good for the soul.
And Kaylina says, in school it was math. Now that I am homeschool elementary boys, I'm loving science and history. Oh, history was always my worst subject.
I had a teacher try to flunk me out of U.S. history because I was having vision issues, and he refused to allow anybody to read me the essay questions off the board, and I couldn't see it. And I flunked the final. We had to go to the principal, and the compromise is he would give me a D, at least passing. He wouldn't give me anything higher than that, or even let me retake the test. I hated U.S. history with passion because of that teacher. It's amazing how one teacher can make or break a subject for you.
Mhm. Backbeat says, I like history and art. David says, no contact equals no giveaway prize. Yeah, now, like when it comes to like my patterns, when I give them away on lives, I'm usually more lenient with it, which I am seriously considering getting stricter because I've had a lot of issues with not being emailed or like or another thing too is um like some people I have their email address from past communications, but for giveaways you really tend to want them to email you because it's a lot easier that way because I could forget to email you, but when I see that new email, it's like, okay, yeah, I got to get that to you, instead of having to go look for the email and, I'm more likely to forget to go looking. But
Well, by having them contact you, it shows that they watched the video or they were in the live. They know that they're supposed to contact you, and therefore they contact you. They don't make that contact. How do you know that they
and,
even watched any of
and
it?
and it's kind of not fair too for those that you don't have their email addresses where they have to contact you. So that's where I really do prefer to be emailed, and I probably am going to start getting stricter on that with my giveaways for lives. But now, like whenever I do like a giveaway on a non-live, like on a regular video, yes, on those you have 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
or you forfeit your prize. But like I said, I have been lenient on when it comes to patterns on lives. Yeah, even just as you shouldn't have to hunt them down, set a time limit. And David says, I'm a lot less than 100 for, and I remember those prices. Jen says, I love music and algebra, but today I can't do either. Yeah, I'm starting to feel like that too, where, you know, you don't use stuff, you start to lose it. And
That's so true.
but in the same aspect too, if you have to do it again, it comes back easier though. David says, I bet you'll use algebra all the time to calculate how much yarn you have left. And Jim's like, no, she plays yarn chicken too much. Okay, let's see. Bagbeat says, I am debating. I have 5.5 skeins on this Afghan. Should I had another skein? 50. Uh, okay, I'm kind of, it looks like there's some typos, so I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Backbeat. David says, I remember one exam question in grad school where I was forced to get to to just vomit up a few details I remembered and then confess that I knew no more. I did get partial credit. Did get partial question. A lot of times they do that. Yeah, they'll give you partial credit. Lisa says I hated history too. Math and science were way easier for me. David says I didn't care for history in school, but I love history documentaries now. Yeah, and actually, I have gotten more into history the last couple of years, but it's still a weakness of mine. And let's see, HD is here. Hi, HD. How are you doing today? We're going to be wrapping up soon, but I'm glad you joined in. And let's see. Yeah, because once I catch up on the comments, we're going to be wrapping up.
Sounds good.
Okay, Angela, I hope you have a good day.
Bye,
And,
Angela.
and let's see. Actually, I'm just about caught up. Okay, he's saying it is 50 wide and height about 43. Okay, I got it now. And David says, I just don't think history was presented well when we were in school. The documentaries I like now focus on people's lives rather than wars and kings. Yeah, I do agree with you. And like, um, now I did have one history teacher that was really good, but I actually struggled in her class because her class was harder. But but she made things fascinating. But I know like when I was in like American history, it was like the teacher basically told you exactly what was on the test. So you weren't really learning. But but yeah, I don't find they do a good job in school typically teaching history. Oh,
Yeah, they kind of twist it.
I hope you have a good day, Kaylina.
Bye, Kaylina. Talk to you later.
And Margaret says, I never liked school, so I was a dropout, but later I did get my GED. Awesome. Okay, so I'm caught up with the comments. So, do you have anything you'd like to say before we say our goodbyes, Cindy?
No, I have my regular live this Wednesday at 8 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Eastern. Other than that, let's share the love with each other and throw some yarn around.
Yeah, throw that your way. So I want to thank you, Cindy, for coming live with me today. And I want to thank everyone for watching today's live and those that will be watching on replay. Thank y'all. Um, and I will be doing my pet video today. It should be a uploaded to YouTube later today. If not, it would be tomorrow. Just depends on how long it takes me to get everything done for it. But that will be coming either later today or at the latest tomorrow. Oh, hi Tina. We're just about to wrap things up, but I'm glad you joined in. But yeah, so there's that going on, and I think I think that's really it.
Well, thank you for having me today.
You're
A lot of fun.
welcome. And I hope everyone has a fabulous Yorny day. Be the light, and bye.
Bye, everybody. Take care.